Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Carl. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Super excited to have you guys here. So, we are going to do a series of videos specifically on a program that you guys have been asking me about, and that is Evoto. So, buckle up. We got a lot to go over. All right, guys. So, hey, there are so many insane new features in Evoto right now that I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am. So, what I want to do is just kind of go through a couple of these main new features and just kind of deep dive into those and explain what's going on. So, let's go ahead and jump in here. So, the first one that I'm very, very excited about is actually, I'm gonna switch images here. Um, is this clothing? Let me click on it here. It's de-blemish clothing. So this is getting rid of hair and little specks of dirt and things like that, right? So it's not gonna get rid of like piles of mud on a kid's baseball clothes, but nonetheless, I mean, little things like this little piece of hair. I mean, check this out. All I have to do is slide this over and boom, it's gone. So, I mean, how crazy is that? Again, showing you where this is. Now, it's very, very finite. It's very, minuscule, but again, it makes a difference. And so all we have to do, slide this over, and just like all the other sliders in Evoto, you can go ahead and adjust those if needed, which is fantastic. So the other part that I love in the clothing adjustment here, which this has been a feature for a while, but nonetheless, is this de-wrinkle clothing. I think this is gold. I think this is literally the most amazing thing out there. And so you can see the difference. I mean, it's not getting rid of the actual like depth of, the texture, but it does help smooth that out. So that was a big one though, is this de-blemish. So any of those, like I said, little particles or hair follicle, anything that's kind of like on the clothing, this is just knocking that out. And again, this is batch, right? So that's another thing that I'm going to show you in this video. And I'm going to pull up one of my sports jobs as well. A lot of people don't know we do dance, so I thought we'd throw in a dance one here just for funsies. So, couple things to pay attention to that I know a lot of people get hung up on. Make sure that you have this selected as all, because if it does notice that it's just a child and it's only focusing on those kids, then it's only going to apply those presets to the kids. So once you get an adult in there, or again with dance studios, you got really older kids, you got really young kids, so it might make a difference on this. So I would just make sure you select all if you want it to apply to everybody. All right, so the other big one that I noticed, and I'm going to show you on dance because I think this is going to be massive for dance photographers, but for sports photography, this is going to be huge too. So all my volume guys out there, this one might hit home. So we're going to go into crop. Now, Evoto has had a face crop for a while, so we could go in here and select our AI headshot crop, right? So we're going to do that same thing. You can see it auto populates right there. It's searching for the face, and then I can batch that to do ID cards and things of that nature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the aspect ratio again, just 4:5. And another big thing I get a lot of calls on, make sure you change the resolution here. So if you're exporting and your files are too small, this right here is the culprit. Make sure you change that to a higher resolution. So I usually just do 300 and don't have any issues. Okay, here is the magic. So this is what Evoto has added into this new update. AI subject. All right, so now we can go to subject and then click on the subject locate. It's just a little slider. And now you're going to see these percentages change as I move this crop. So it's really, really neat. All I'm going to do is get this crop where I want it. And now instead of cropping just the face and trying to guess as to whether it's going to go to the bottom of the feet or not, I can actually make it to where I want the bottom of the feet. Looks like this is at 6.4%. And so it's going to take that same percentage. Now, the caveat here, make sure you're shooting open enough, because if those sides hit, it's not going to crop all the way this way. So just make sure that you're shooting open enough that the crop has space to crop. Because if you do this on a younger kid that's really, really short, and then you try and do this and you got a 6-foot coach, it's still going to crop off their feet. So again, AI can only do so much. It's not going to just create pixels. Again, not yet. So you never know. These guys are great. So but there's a couple other things here. So we got vertical alignment, so we can actually change the alignment as well. We can do eye level alignment. How insane is that? I mean, this is next level stuff, y'all. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit OK, because sure, I like that crop. That's where I want to be, right? So now all I'm going to do is sync this, and I'm going to sync it to all my vertical ones, because obviously I don't want it to crop to that horizontal, because it's just going to be a little wonky. So I'm going to select all my vertical ones, and then I'm going to sync, and bada boom, bada bing. I get that same percentage, top, bottom, left, right, on all of these images. Now, you can see this one is a little tighter, but I shot this tighter, and I put this photo in there to show you that. So again, if you're looser, then that's what happens. The other culprit of this is that tilt. So if it does have to tilt, it crops. You've got a little less variance to work with on the sides. So just things to be cautious of when you're shooting this, to make sure you're getting the result that you want. But guys, this is incredible. Think about doing a dance studio or action photos or race photos or anything like that, and just batching it and being done. So those are kind of the main new functions that I saw that I just totally geeked out on. All right, so now what I'm going to show you guys is the preset functionality, and this is what's really going to speed up that workflow. So again, if you're shooting consistently and you've got consistent things that you can work on, you can set presets, and this goes super, super fast. So couple things. I'm just going to go through and just very, very quickly edit, some of this, just to, give it some spunk. But obviously I would take a lot more time in adjusting this. But you can see, again, we've got dehaze down here. We've got clarity. So there's all sorts of sliders and stuff that we can kind of play with, right? So some of the things, honestly, that I think really kind of hit home for this batch process is the acne. So a lot of times I'll kick that up about 80% of the way, and I bring the freckles all the way down, because I do not want to eliminate freckles at all. I do kind of play with the reduce face shine a little bit. I always add glass glare. Always, always, always add glass glare. I have been adding double chin in there. I do think it makes a little bit of a difference. So again, know your client, right? And then once we come down here, so this one is fairly new, is the facial reshape. So I can actually tilt heads up and down. I mean, what kind of wizardry is that, right? So if a lot of my kids tend to lift, tilt their head up, I can actually just drop it down automatically, right? Here's a couple new ones is V shape. So I can actually kind of chisel that chin slightly. I'm not a huge fan of doing this with youth, but again, if you're getting into more headshots and you get somebody that's a little self-conscious about that, this might be a fantastic slider to use. But I think for youth photos, eh, parents get a little kind of nitpicky on, hey, that doesn't look like my kid, right? So I try not to change it too much, but nonetheless, I can come in here, I can whiten teeth. I think that's a great thing to kind of add in. And personally, I love brightening the eyes. I just think it's a great, um, you know, way to add to the photo that you're not changing lighting and so on and so forth. So I kick up that iris flare quite a bit. And again, that's just personal preference, right? It's because when I get in those zoomed in shots, now it's going to make a difference. So I always come in and I do background extraction. So I'm going to add that in there. Boom. You can see my background's pretty solid extraction. I do add shadows. So one of the beautiful things is, and I'm actually going to go ahead and add a white background just so I can nail that shadow, right? So I'm going to come in here, and one thing people aren't aware of is if I go to this little pen tool, I can tweak that shadow. Now I'm going to retain these shadows too. And this is also new. So what this is going to do is it's going to give me that contact shadow, which is pretty huge, right? And then I'm going to tweak the shadows. So I'm just going to hit the edit button and you can see it gives me left and right. So I'm just going to slide these up slightly. And what that's going to do is kind of tie it into the feet a little better. And again, I can really get nitpicky on this. I can lower that opacity. I can kick up the blur. I can bring the blur down, the blur range, right? So there's so many things I can do to really get this shadow exactly how I want it. But I'll let you guys play with that. Take it to your preference, get it to where you love it. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit that transparency again. All right, so as I said earlier, I love doing the de-wrinkle. I just think it makes it look so sharp. So many parents, especially for youth sports, are like, oh my gosh, it's photo day and I didn't get a chance to, throw his clothes in the dryer. So this is huge, guys. The de-blemish, again, this is what we talked about earlier. Hey, I'm going to knock that up because if there's nothing on his clothes, it doesn't matter. But if there is, it's going to fix it. So point is we want to batch this. I don't want to check every single image to make sure something is wrong or correct. So now that I have all of this taken care of, I'm not going to do crop on this. Okay. So now that I have all this taken care of, this is so simple. I'm just going to go ahead and hit save preset, right? So I'm going to call a preset name. We'll just call this Evoto test for now. And then I get to pick my group. So I'm going to just add this into my sports group. And it's a combination because it's a bunch of different actions. And I'm just going to hit save, right? So now let's take this back to the original. Boom, right? Did all that work, right? All right, so now if I come over here, I can just click this drop down on sports, hit Evoto test, and bada boom, bada bing. It is changing everything, and there's my final image, right? So now what I can do is go ahead, select all of these, sync them, hit sync, and now it's adding that entire preset to my entire job. And that is how we get through all of this stuff so quickly. So I didn't have to go through each individual one and click that preset. I can batch this and sync it. And you can see, again, this was a very quick sort of tutorial on how to build that preset, but using um, these new tools that come out as Evoto's doing these updates is huge. Now, that's the last thing I want to show you guys before we wrap this video. Let's say something was wrong, or let's say Evoto comes out with a new feature that I want to add in, right? So let's do that. Let's go and say, okay, Evoto just added right here, red eye removal, right? Bingo. So we can go ahead and click that. Now, I don't have to completely remake that preset. All I have to do is come over here to my preset, click on the 3 dots, hit update with current settings, save it, update it, and now it's done. Now it's going to include the red eye removal into that. So now I can do the same thing. I can go ahead to my first kiddo, hit Evoto test, and now you can see down here, it automatically added in that red eye removal. So as Evoto's coming out with new features that you absolutely love and you want to tweak your presets, you don't have to completely redo your preset. You can just add them in, update it, and you're good to go. So guys, I really hope this was helpful. I've got a couple more videos coming out specifically on Evoto because this is just such a massive platform that I really want to take the time to dive into each piece and explain how these things work. So bear with me. It's going to be a couple videos, but I think you guys are going to love it. See you soon.